Yeah, it's like this. Just to clarify the Yonam a little bit. Rahman does steht in Chassidus that this Havos is B'Kayach HaMalchus. It's Mitzad It's at the Tnu of itself, Mitzad Midas, which B'Yachas L'Inyanenu, that's Mitzad the Tnu of which is Gilei Amar, so there's no space for a Metzias of a Yesh. Mitzad the Tnu of so the whole Inyan of the Nivra is Behemshach to this Galas of the Makar. It wouldn't be a gather of a Yesh. That's some technicality that there should be a Mitzid, be Mahavah, so that's not... that could even be Mitzad but the Inyan of Havos that there's space now. We mean to say that there is the definition of the Metzias is not that it's a Chetimtze for this Galas HaMakar. The gather of Rekia is that it's a Rekia. That Nekuda. So that's only Mitzad Sfiras HaMalchus, which there's a Makar for a Nivra. There's a Makar for a Nivra. But Dugma Tzekab in the Mashal and the Nefesh HaAdam, Keich HaDibur, which the Makar for a Zulas is Dafka Mitzad B'chinas HaDibur. The person is not, in Yon of Keich HaDibur, is not this Galas HaNefesh, but an Esinas Makim to Metzias Shemechutzimen. So there is in order for there to be a Nekuda of his Havos, which the Geder Ayesh should be a Metzias for himself, an Indian for himself, a property for himself. So that can't be Mitzad the Tnu of That's because is this Galus, the Tnu of is this Galus and this Pashas HaMakar. So the whole Indian of this Havas Ayesh would be a Pchina on this Pashas HaMakar. The Makar is in some ways Mispashas Lamata Mata. But there wouldn't be a Mashmos to the Metzias of Rekia, his definition wouldn't have been Rekia. In order for it to be Yesh, is Afka Mitzad Firas HaMalchus. The Idach the Rebbe says, the fact, so the Etzem Tnu of giving space for another Metzias, that's Mitzad Firas HaMalchus. The Idach, what is Malchus giving space to? We're dealing with being Mahava Yesh Ma'ayin. So the Nesinas Makim Liyesh, Etzem Tnu of Nesinas Makim Liyesh, that's Afka Mitzad Firas HaMalchus. But to create Yesh Ma'ayin, to take something, to give, the Etzem Tnu of giving of an Nesinas Makim to Zulas, that's Afka Mitzad Malchus. But to be Mahava this type of Zulas, to be Mahava Yesh Ma'ayin, that helps nicht in of Sfiras HaMalchus, because Malchus is a Tnu and Seder Shalshalos Mitzad Tziyur Mitzad Mitzias. So the Nivras which is Mugder in the Gedarim of Ayin Ve'efes. So Mitzias Yesh is an Ayin Ve'efes. You can't take something which by definition there is no concept of Rekia Mitzad. Malchus is under the category is Mitzad Agdar of Seder Shalshalos. Mitzad Sfiras HaMalchus, Mitzias is a Lukus, or something which is Batas a Lukus. There is no concept of reality. Malchus in Yana is to be a market to give space for an other, but an other which exists. But to create from nothing an other, for that you need to have Keich Atzmus Dafke. And that's Mizbat in the fact that the Keich Atzmus is by Idea So that's why Malchus is Mahavib. Through that the Malchus is Meyuchad with Yisaid, with the which is the Malim Misferes Malchus. That's in other words, the Nekudah the Rebbe is saying here is, which is really explained in the Maimon in Tanya, not the way the Rebbe says it here, but the point is that the Sabbath is through the way is Mol B'Shem Malchus. Why do you need Because this Havos is B'Keich HaAtzmus, and the Keich HaAtzmus is Nimshach HaMalchus through That's Be'efin Kloli So here, the way the Rebbe explains it here, why do you need Sfiras HaMalchus? Why do you need to have Keich HaAtzmus? There's an inyan of in a Lukus that is a makar L'Metzias. Why do you need to have that Malchus you have a Dafka with Keich HaEr? Dafka with which is Mol B'Shem Malchus, and the is Dafka with Keich, because you need to have Keich HaAtzmus, and the Keich HaAtzmus is Nimshach through Dafka. Why didn't you yourself? So the beer in the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya is because Misat Inna Mitzvah Matzmusa. That's why you need to have the Inna of Keich HaAtzmus. Here the Rebbe gives a different beer, because in order to Mahava Yesh Ma'ayin is Dafke Mitzad Atzmus Seder himself, which is not Mugder in the Gedar of Mitzias of Ayin V'Yesh. Mitzad Malchus Mitzad Seder Shtalshalos, which Mitzad Malchus is the Gedar of Ayin V'Yesh. So Mitzad the Gedar of Malchus Rakia is an Ayin, or the Agdar of Mitzias is an emes, something which is connected to this truth. Stamazir Rekia mitzad the Gdarim of Seder Shlashlos Rekia is an Ayin Ve'efes, a Rekia Gashmi. So the fact that Malchus is Nisnakim Lezulas, but here we're not dealing with Stam and Nisnakim Lezulas. To give a Zulas which is an Ayin Ayesh, that's Dafka mitzad Keich HaAtzmus, which is not Mugdar in the Gdarim of Ayin V'Yesh. I'm saying Be'efin Klali, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya Yigar Zakedesh that this Havos is idea the way the is Mislabish in Kalim, the is Mislabish in Malchus. And why do you need Because is B'Keich Atzmus, and the Keich Atzmus is Nimshach through is Mein Amor, which is the Keich Atzmus is an Here the Shad is what's the beer, and that's in other words the way the Rebbe is touching here. What does it mean? The Melech Hay V'Kayim. Sabbath Adei Malchus, but the way Malchus is the way the is Malubish Malchus, which the is the Tnu of Gilead, the Tnu of Midas. And why do you need Because Sof Kosof, this Sabbath is Dafke B'Keich Atzmus, which is Nimshach through The beer, why you need Etzem, is a different beer here than the way the Alter Rebbe says it in Tanya. there the beard is the Metzias Metzmus, and here the beard is because the etzem inin of Malchus, which is Nesinas Makom Liyesh, his Havas of Azulas, this Tnua, this Havas Azulas, the way it is in Malchus, could only come at Keach Atzmus. Because you're being Mahava an ayin, making an ayin liyesh, you're giving this in a smakim. You're giving space to Metzias, which is be'etzem an ayin, and that you're giving space to, that you're being a makar for. So for that, you need to have that Keach Atzmus. So Malchus in Yoni is in Sinas Makim to Zulas. But in Sinas Makim, that an ayin should become a Metzias, that's Dafke Keach Atzmus. And the Rebbe says, Lefizeh, once you understand, it means there's two shlavim here. First, you understand, it's at the fact that first you understand that in order to be Mahava, you need Dafke Suras HaMalchus. The fact that there's an Smakim Liyesh, you're giving space to Metzias, there's Dafke Suras HaMalchus. Then you come to the Akara, but he's giving space to what type of Metzias? He's being Mahava. He's giving Smakim to Metzias, which Be'etzim is Einei, which doesn't have the Alulis to exist. In order for that to be Dafke Mitzat Keach Atzmus. The Mele versteht man that the Eifen Eis Havos is an Eifen that even mitzad the Mahava there's not Fisas Makim to the Metzias Anivra. That's the Cheshbon Advarim. But just to, maybe it will be clarified this way, maybe it will become more clear this way. Yeah, the R111, the maybe just to clarify this. I think that's, even though it's not Izgetesh, but I think that's, the Rebbe says here, in Order 110, there says in the Pnim, even though it's Havas in Keach HaMalchus, but HaKeach Shel Malchus Chadish Yesh Ma'ayin Dafke Me'atzmus Serin Sof, which is L'mayla Migeder Shachris Leilamis. So 110 there says Ani Gesh Kedesh Mechav Mehusi V'Atzmusi that the Keach is Havas inside the Atzmus, but El Shabir Sham Be'efen Acher. So why is there have to give a different beer here? Why can't you use the same beer the way it is there? But there, what comes out from there is it's at the etzem inin of his havos yesh ma'ayin. The inin of Malchus is nesinas makom liyesh, being a makkah for his havos. The idea of being mahava, which idea of his havos is giving space for another mitzias, bringing another reality into being, not as pashtus hamakkah. That's the tunu of Malchus. Mitzad that inin, the Alter says mitzad that inin, you don't need dafke keach atzmus. In aderech you have the mashal the nevesh adam. Dibur is a keach for a person to be misyachis and to give space for a mitzias shem b'chutz imenu. There's an Elokus, there's a Keach HaMalchus, which in Yonah Malchus is not this pashtus of Elokus, but be Mahava Metzias, to be a Makkah for a Metzias. To be a Makkah for a Metzias. So for that, you take a donit Keach HaMalchus. That's in Yonah of Malchus. In Yonah, but do what they have in the Mashal Nefesh Adam, Keach HaZrika, or Keach HaDibur, which in Yonah is not this pashtus HaNefesh, but being a Makkah for a Metzias Shem B'chutz, to affect something outside of you. You have the in Elokus Gufa, you have the in of Eir, which is Gili HaMakkah, is pashtus HaMakkah, which inside that there's not Sinas Makim Liyesh, and you have the Nekudah of Malchus, which is a Makkah for Yesh. And mitzad that takis and malchus is the inner of his havos hayesh. You don't need keich atzmus because there's another aspect in the yesh, the aspect of mitzvah atzmus. But that's not an aspect that's neveah from malchus. Malchus is the one that gives a space for a mitzvah for this havos, for there to become, give space for to be mahava a new being. Now there's another, and mitzad that we don't need keich atzmus. Malchus itself would be sufficient to be mitzad the inner of malchus gufa kemi mahava zan yesh ma'ay. But there's another aspect in the yesh that the yesh doesn't sense any hemshach to its makir. And it's that's not the nikud of the fact that the nivras are rekia. The fact that the rekia senses that as the fact that the rekia is the zamis or zach, which has no hemshach to makir at all. It's not margish that it comes from anywhere. It's margish that from zechalein. For that, you need have keich atzmus. So, but what Malchus contributes to this havos. What Malchus gives, what does Malchus give? The etzem to know there's a gather of Rekia. Without the Rekia fitting Mitzvah Matzmus, let's say the Rekia would be aware of the fact that it has a Makir. Not Mitzvah Matzmus. Mitzvah that you don't need Keich Atzmus. Because the lapel you're being Mahava Yesh, which is not Margish at all, it's Shaykhis it's Makir. Mitzvah that you have to have the union of the Keich Atzmus. So then, Voltamirish Gahat, what the Rebbe is being mamshich further, so the Fizevot is gekommen, that Mitzad Malchus, the Nivra has a Tzitzis Makir. Mitzad Malchus itself, Mitzad this harvest, the way it is Mitzad Malchus, which is not the one that contributes the element of Mitzvah Matzmus. Mitzad that in Gufa, Malchus Avada, the Nivra Mitzad Atzmei has no Tfisas Makin. Like I was saying last time, the Evan Mitzad Atzmei has no potential to be here. But why is Malchus Mahava Velt? Because Malchus' Indian is expressed in the fact that he's Mahava Velt. Mitzad the Keich HaMahava, there's an Asunas Makin to Velt. You understand what I'm saying? From the Alter says in Tanya itself, we want to bring out here that even mitzad malchus, the fact that malchus is mahave welt, it's not an eif, and that mitzad malchus is just the his havas expresses him, or the his havas has a chivus tegabe malchus. Even mitzad tfiras malchus, the whole inner of this havas is because that's the kavanah se'etzim, not because there's a chivus to welt. Without Rebbe's word in Tanya itself, what's chishariz gebracht zeh. What's the nekuda cause? Mitzad atzmos is not shaykh to say that mitzad atzmos welt is has a chivus, has a tfisas makim. And he's mahav the mitzvah welt because the mitzvah contains within itself some quality that the atzmos is expressed through this quality. So atzmos can't be organized because atzmos is built in mitzvah is not mugder in anything. It's not shaykh to say that a mitzvah has a chivus legabi. Why is there atzmos is not there's no gather? Why is he being mahav? Because that's what he wants. So there's not he's not mahav because there's a chivus to the mitzvah as well. Because kach oleber tzayne, kach nesav. Not because there's a smakim to the mitzvah. But what the Rebbe wants to bring out here is that even that the ishavos, the way it is inside the malchus. Aziv what megatashn in pashtus that there's common yanim in the ishavos. Mitzad there's an element in the ishavos that comes with mitzad atzmos, and mitzad that there's not smakim to the mitzvah as well. But then there is other aspects in ishavos. The very fact that there's a world that was created. Not that they get them from Tfisim Atzmos. There's a Rekiya, there's Shemayim, and there's Eretz, that they have that there's a definition of Rekiya, and that Nekudah, there's a certain chshivus, because this Mitzias expresses the fact that the Eibush is Yachal HaHavis. This Mitzias expresses the Keich Malchus. Malchus is a certain inyan of being given a sinus welcome to Zulas, and that inyan is expressed through his Havis Yeshmayim. And a Shtetak in Chassidus, that this Havis, the way it is in Sadam Ali, is an Eifin that there's a smakim to this Havis. What the Rebbe is saying here is that Malchus is inyan Malchus can't kenish a durchführen sein inyan without Keich Atzmos. Malchus is inyan being in a sinus makom liyesh, giving this sinus makom to another, being mahav another mitzias, not this pashas hamakir, giving space and bringing into being another, in order to bring into being another, which that's the tnu of Malchus. For that you need the Keich Atzmos. So the pnimius of Malchus is Keich Atzmos. So the fiza comes out that even mitzad malchus, there's no tfisas makim be'emes t'rinufray. And the whole gather of this havas is what's the pshat that there is a metzias of a rekiah is not because there's a chshivus to the metzias of a rekiah, is because that's the kavan. Kach oleber tzene there should be a metzias of a rekiah. Not that this metzias you say accomplishes anything. That's the kavanah se'etzin, that there should be a havas, and a havas in a way that we're neis in makom liyesh. That's good for the kavanah. That's the ratzon etzin, that there should be a havas in a even that's neis in makom liyesh. Not the mitzad malchus, by definition there's neis in makom liyesh. That's all mitzad the kavanah. And if it's mitzad the kavanah, it says it's not to do with the mitzias and nimtza. It's nothing to do with that velt as a chshivus. It's because kach oleber tzayne to give a chshivus to velt. So mitzad that avana comes out that even mitzad the mahave, which is the chore neis in makom liyesh, Neisen makim to the gives it something to the Mitzvah Seilemis. The whole Mitzvah of Malchus is the Kavanah says. And even Mitzvah Datag is not Tfisas makim to the Yesh. If I stay the minion. Nicht das klar? Huh? Yeah. I don't know if it came out clear last time, but that's
the idea that it's giving us Shabbos.
Malchus is, I'm saying, the same with the Nefesh Adam. There's the Gilei Nefesh, and then there is the Tchuna, the Inyan of Dibra is not the Kav of Gilei Nefesh. Give space for another. Or being mahav, being a mucker for a mitzvah, being mahav a mitzvah. There's such a keich in a lakus, which in Yani is not this spash to some mucker, but giving it in a smagim to another mitzvah. Giving space and value to another. This tnua gufa, giving value to another, which has been etzem and ayin, is dafke mikeich atzmus. So the pnimius of this tnua, giving space to another, mana stammt ist. Das stammt von atzmus itself. That means that mitzad atzmi is not shaykh to say that the nivra mitzad atzmi has a chshivus. If you speak about mitzad inside the without bringing in this nekudah that the keich the Rebbe is explaining here is that malchus is inyan. Pnimiyusi of that inyan is mitzad the fact mitzad atzmi says which is not mugdal. Malchus is inyan. You say this is keich dibur. Dibur's inyan is the pnimiyusi mitzad that there's an etzem which is not mugdal, and that's how there could be malchus as tnua giving this as makom liyesh. So the fize v'tanander taich in the fact that Malchus is nesin makim and gives a chshivus to the yesh. We're giving space for another, but one havana giving space to another is that's in yani of Malchus. The kayach not even though the lukus is bleak vol, the kayach to be able to give space to another. That itself is in Elokus, which that in is expressed through Malchus. And according to that beer, this Havos has its Tfisus Makim inside Malchus, because Malchus' Inyan is expressed through his Havos. So the Havos is Chshivas. Vi brings Chareis this Inyan Elokus, that he's able to say leave his pashtus and to give space for another. The inyan of Dibur, the Keich of Dibur, that's expressed to Malchus. How is that expressed to Malchus? Through his Havos. So his Havos has a Chshivas, they got Malchus. Adem sagt the Rebbe does nicht das, because when you have Avana Primis, that the fact that Malchus is Nesim Makom Liyesh is Mitzad Atzmis Erin Sof, so Mitzad Atzmis is not trying to say that there's a certain Ilui, a certain Maila, a certain Shleimus of giving to Svakim to a Nivra, and that's expressed through Malchus. Atzmis is Shluas Kol HaTorah. The fact that he's Nesim Makom Liyesh is not because there's a certain Maila which is expressed in that in, because that's his Kavanah, that's his Ratz. That's him, his Mufshit from all Mailas, from all Inyan. He's Shluas Kol HaTorah. The fact that if he wants, he could be a Rekis, because that's what he wants. That's the Kavanah. So the fact that Malchus is Nesim Makom Liyesh gives like a space to another, and that there's like an Inyan of giving space to another, that's because that's the Kavanah Se'etzim. So by mitzvahs, if that's the kavanah se'etzim is that there should be an asinas makom liyesh. Then the asinas makom liyesh is not that there's a chshivas to the mitzvahs of elamus. That's all a prat in being in the hashlam of the Eibish's kavanah. It's not. There's no tefisas makom to the mitzvahs.
It's not brought out.
This Gersa Kodesh, this is not going to bring out that the fact that Malchus' tnua is mitzvah the kavanah. The Gersa Kodesh is there's the inyan of his havas in Keiches havas in Elokus, and mitzad that in Yitaka there's tzitzis makom liyesh, and then there's an aspect of the nivra which is mitzvah matzmos. Nachan Because
in Gersa it's not bringing out that the zuhas is ayin.
That it's not bringing out that the fact to be mahavet to make from an ayin a yesh is mitzad Keiches. This is just the beer there. Beer is a different beer. The etzem of his havas yesh ma'ayin. It doesn't speak in the Gersa Kodesh that for that you need have Keiches. So Mitzad the Gersa Kodesh, Mitzad the beer there, the vart. It's Havas yesh ma'ayin. It could have Mitzad Malchus itself. Mitzad tzitzim atzmus is dafka mekei achatzmus. So Mitzad was stammt is a severta yesh, not Mitzad atzmus, a severta geder from Arakia. From wann stammt is Mitzad Malchus. What is that Indian? What's the pshat that comes in Mitzad Malchus? Malchus is in Yoni to express this aspect in Elokus, which could be Nesim Makom to another Mitzvah, and that's this Kayach is expressed through being Mahavet. So according to that beer, this Havos has a chshivas, because through this Malchus' Inyan there's a certain Inyan of giving an asinas makim to another mitzvah, lezulas, and this Inyan is expressed through his Havos. So his Havos has a chshivas. Mash'enkin wants to say that in order that for Malchus' Inyan you have to have Keiches, not for another aspect in the Yesh you have to have Keiches. For Malchus' Inyan of his Havos yesh ma'ayin, his Inyan is to be mahave. Not a spashas hamakar, but to be mahave, and for the tnu of his havas, you have to have the afka atzma which is not mugder. So the tnu of his havas comes from an etzem which is beyond mitzvahs. So if this havas comes from an etzem which is beyond mitzvahs, it's not shaykh to say that there's an Inyan prati of giving the sinas makom liyesh, and which that is expressed through his havas. Atzmas is beyond any Inyan. He's not mugder. He's beyond the definition of Inyan. And mitzad him, what's the pshat that there's an sinas makom liyesh? Because that's his kavanah. Outside of his ratzon, there's no chshivas to the Inyan. There's no chshivas to any Inyan. There's his kavanah, and his kavanah is that there should be an Inyan of nesinas makom liyesh. So there is an Inyan of nesinas makom liyesh, but what's the premise of that? Not because it's an Inyan mitzad atzmeh, because that's the kavanah. So the fizah comes that even mitzad the makir there's not nesinas makom to the mitzvahs.
Zuhas doesn't have to be mitzvahs, doesn't have to come mitzvahs and matzmusa.
No, it's two separate inyanim. What I'm saying, matzmusa is that the nivra doesn't sense, let's say, that it comes from anywhere. Let's say the rakia would be margish b'kol rega v'rega, that the fact that it exists because the Eivish is mahav. Why wouldn't it be zulas? What is a rakia? Rakia is a heaven. It's not a spashis of a lukus. That's called a zulas. It's another thing. The Eivish is mahav, independent reality, not independent in its hergish, that it's not margish that it comes from anywhere. In what's its content? It's a mitzvah. That's what the Rebbe means over here, yesh. Yesh means that you're creating a rakia, which in Yoni is a content of rakia, not a spashas of a magar. Spashas of a magar would mean the content is not rakia, it's the spashas ha'elyon. The word over here, yesh, is you create a new being. Even if this being is aware of the fact that it exists because the Eibush creates it. It has nothing to do. But what exists? That's the question. I'm saying just the Pashup Pshat, I don't know if it came out clear. is a bissel. You can't erase any recordings, but there's. Huh? That's what the Rebbe brings. I'm not saying this is what L'chura was. The Rebbe is not discussing this in over there. There's no sense talking about the Makkah. Here the Rebbe wants to bring out that that the Havas is dafke that the Malchus is Tnua is dafke mitzad Atzmos Ein Sof, and that's mechazik that karda of that even mitzad the Makkah there's no aspect in a Lukus which that aspect there's be'emes and there's a chshivus to Mitzias Eilos. There is a Tnua of Malchus which is Neisen Makom Liyesh, but that's because that's the Kavanah. That's the Ratzon Ha'etzem. And there's no Tnua of Malchus being Neisen Makom Liyesh outside of that's the Kavanah Ha'etzem, because Malchus is Tnua Gufa is Mechayiv the Koyach of Atzmos Ein Sof. Let me say Nachamol the Sifte Zayin. I'll read again from the Zomalene Nachamol Chasiris HaMalchus because I don't know if the is gekommen as a klar. Ich habe ein bisschen gut. I don't know if people listen or not, but Lepoil it's okay. I'm saying if I'll be writing it, I would erase some lines from before. Since we're not writing it. Sfiras HaMalchus, B'chinas Al-Kuts Sheches Leil, Amr Zeh Nachamol. Sfiras HaMalchus, from Bir Pirs Al Pichsidus, we'll see the whole thing. Sfiras HaMalchus, B'chinas Al-Kuts HaShayeches Leilam. Yeah, that means Injani is being a Makar Leilamis. L'chinim Sharas HaMenem V'Sheyecham B'Gidr HaMakam V'Azman. Sfiras, I say this Injani is the Izgalus of Al-Kuts, the Izgalus HaMakar. Yeah, that's what we said before. And I'm not going into every part again, just the general Nakoda. So Malchus in Yoni is a makar for Zulas, we use the Mashal of Dibur, and Midas is in Yoni is the Spasha Se'elim. In Yichud Malchus Amay Seidu, Yileir in Sof Shalom Mailam Eilamis, with a Lukuzam Eslabish Beilim. Zel Mashal Zon Shalom Babachis Melech HaVekayim, means Malchus Bekeach in other words. Why is it Dafka Malchus Bekeach Er? It says, Achzar, Shalom Shalom Bekeach in Briach HaDosha. Chidish Shmein, Ime Yeshe Peil Bom, Chinas Malchus Dafka means in order for it to be a Yesh. And it's in a Smakim Tametzius, not you spoke about this, not yesh as in sensing itself that it's undependent on Elokus, but yesh as a content for itself, as an inyan as a dover. So that's the Afkim said Malchus, which in Yoni Malchus is not to spash to se'elyin, but to be a makar, to be mahavet. That's the Nekudah of Malchus. But because a keach shel Malchus achad, this is what the Rebbe's word is. A keach shel Malchus achad yeshesh ma'ayin for Malchus to durch for zayin inyan is dafka ma'atzmos ein sof. The Rebbe right away goes through beer. In other words, not. In a guy, the state that the Havas is the Keich Atzmos, but doesn't state Mitzvus Atzmosi. Here the Rebbe wants to explain how Keich Sheba Malchus Echad Shesh Ma'ayin Malchus is Inyan, which in Yoni is a Keich Lahaves. This Keich Lahaves is Dafka Ma'atzmos Ein Sof. Means Malchus is Inyan, which in Yoni is a Keich Lachadish Yesh. That Inyan is Dafka Mitzad Atzmos. Why? Because which Mitzadat you have to have this Havas Hadei which is connected to Atzmos. Why? Because Atzmos is in the begeder shaychas leilamis. B'meila eine bagdarim the ayin v'yesh. Lechem bichoti lasses se eine yeshne. Mashek in Malchus is mugder these agdaris. Ha'era shaych leilamis Malchus is mugder bagdaris. Which agdaris? That the nivrim said Atzmos is in eine. And what's considered a mitzias to gabi Malchus? A lukus is a mitzias. A dovra batal a lukus is a mitzias. A rakia is nishke mitzias to gabi Malchus. A Malchus is under these agdaris. There's Gidra Mitzias. I mean, at Gidra Mitzias, a Rakia existed. So Avada Malchus is Lahaves, but in order for Malchus to durchführen sein Inyan is Dafke Bekeach Atzmos. Sam, the Vela, the Rebbe, okay, the Akkodas and Atzmos is the Rebbe says two pratim. This we don't have to go through this again.
Didn't they say it's talking about Malchus? It's talking about
Also Malchus. Ha'ira Shaykh Lemes, Avada Malchus. If Eira Shaykh Lemes is Mugdar Bagdar Seila, Malchus is in a lower darga in Ishtalshalos. In Ishtalshalos is Gdarim. What's considered Mitzias? Mitzad Gidra Mitzias, or Rakia is Ayin Vefes. Elokus is a Mitzias. I'm saying Elokus is the Emes. What's Rakia? What's this content exactly? There was a question. It's coming from the very good. Lamer Zen. So now, Birim Shulchis with Al Chagavar Shemida. Anik Shurim Sebez. Kores Ha'odom Shachidish Shmaim Bo Mas Meserin Of Shemal Meilum Sabir V'Chilek Asay Shemida. Ani Mechazek is a Sak Kores Kol Ha'ilm is Mechashim Tom. Once you understand that Malchus is the inyan of his Havos, The keach lechadish yesh is after mitzad atzmos in sof. So now, versteht man that the fact that even though l'chure bechitzenius, in yoni of malchus is lahavis. If in yoni of malchus is lahavis, that means that mitzad the mocker there's achshivus tevelt. There's tefillas makom tevelt. Because in yoni of the mocker is lahavis. But once you understand that in yoni lahavis is that inyan is mitzad the yechelis. The keach lahavis is mitzad atzmos. So the fact that in yoni lahavis is b'keach ha'etzem. Mitzad the etzem there's no tefillas makom tayesh. It's not an Indian. The fact that Atzmas Yochel Lahav is not because his Havas brings him out. Nothing brings him out. Because he's not Mugdar. Canal Zain. If he wants to give space, he can give space for something. Not because giving space is going to express him. It's not going to express his greatness. He's beyond the concept of greatness. It's because once you understand that, so Mele statement that it's Mechazik, that Korah, that his Havas has no Tfisas Makam at all. Not only as not his makom mitzad the yesh atzmai, even mitzad the makra mahava he's not an Indian. As they would can say that the fact that there was nishava velt, it brings it out to the Eibusher's makra yochel havis. So them sagen nicht das. And that would be a mechazik the remes of Medani, because even if by nivri, even if you would have that korah brura that the yesh mitzad atzmai is ein vefes, but mitzad the makra mahava it velt a mitzias, velt a zachshivus. So lepoil a person would there's a tefillas makom to the mitzvah of Velt. So for him to wake up in the morning while he's within the category of Velt and to be margish that the fact that he exists is a pella, that his mitzvah is a chiddush, and the minute he sees a weakness, he senses his basic reality, which is ayin, and when he's refreshed, he senses the fact that the Eibush is creating him. A mitzvah would mean something to him. So dafke through that kara the beer of chelik asayt, which gives him that card. Even inside the makra mahava is Velt is hotkim mitzius nicht. So Mele be'etzim are garnished. Even the achreis havas he has no Indian. It's only because that's the Eibusher's ratz. So imagine some if imits are left with that card, that be'etzim there is no mitzius at all. There's not his anything. There's only the ratz and atzmos. I eres da das the ratz and atzmos. He says it's exercise akasov. So the minute exercise akasov goes in the chabel chidushi. You have in Gemara. Yeah, means in the chabel chidushi means that we're the Indian be'etzim hatish kenart. Or Torah said it, but to take it further, because in the Chavei Chiddush. So if someone it's a chiddush, you're not gonna build a whole klal around it because it's heipach haklal. So where the Torah says so, it is like that. Where the Torah doesn't say so, is chazarno to the Indian the way it is mitzad atzmei. So if even mitzad the makir, it's not that mitzad the makir velt hat is makim. Just kach olebert saying. So the world is always dependent on the ratzon. So the fact that that there's a hergish of mitzias is always a pellet. It's always a davar neisiv. It's a chiddush. It's a chiddush every morning. He'll remind himself tchias hamesim. Saying you say in the chabel chiddush only where Torah really said the chiddush. The minute you don't have a hechrich for the chiddush, so you go back to the way things are mitzad the klolim. Mitzad the klolim the Indian is mufrach. So where the chiddush is not taken, if a person gets weak right away, but that's totally also in the ayin ve'efes inside the makar. It's repetition. I think this is the word. If his havas would be adis v'smalchus sedatzma, and even if you can say the alter is biur of mitzvah, but that's not mitzad malchus. That's another aspect in the nivra that stems from atzmas. But there's the tnu of his havas. There's the fact that it's a gavarna rakia, and the rakia has a tisas makim mitzad malchus. So if this havas would be mitzad malchus mitzad atzma, mikivan she'elim is tapes some makim.
But you're talking about Shaykh Zaman,
That's what you're
saying.
That's what the Rebbe is a different beer than Iger Sekeh Smochav.
You're saying that's what the Rebbe is trying to
Why is no, not here? Why the Rebbe? I'm saying why the Rebbe brought another beer to the fact that Malchus is V'keach Ha'etzim. Was ist schlecht the beer was steht in Iger Sekeh? In order 110. Here the Rebbe touches up. Kipiyim is havas elam says this for some Malchus mitzad atzma. Mikivan she'elam is tapes some makom legaba. Yeah, what does it mean? So then, loy haisis chashus b'chol ikrim mitzuyusam. Yeah, let's see right away. Order 12, 112. Yeah, reid derech mitzisacha. What does Alter Rebbe say in Tanya? Yeah, we're concluding in Tanya these days. It's politic gesagt, but Alter Rebbe says in Tanya that the Alter Rebbe gives a whole arichis that yesh ma'ayin, the nivra mitzad atzmai has no hiyuli, no achshara to exist. Not like yesh mi yesh, that the tzura of that the person not mechadish anything. The chaymer has within himself the potential to be a kelim. Mashegin yesh ma'ayin is hepech. It's kol shekol gav chaymer. If mayim lamet gecheim is hepech teva mayim. Allah is kama an ayin should exist is hepech teva ayin. Is hepech teva ayin. As is it's a aggressive pelle. It's a pelle who's the one that if you have the Eibusher can machen plan. The minute the kayach havos is nostalgic, the nivra mitzadatzmei doesn't have the ability to exist. As is Alter Rebbe in Sheikh V'Emunah. The fees that Alter Rebbe says in Paragimel, the fees that you understand that the fact that the nivra exists is not because the nivra contains within itself the quality of existence. Not only doesn't contain within itself the quality of existence, but the nivra is mushta legamri to exist. It's a pelle that he's in a state of existence. It's not the same way when Mayim is standing by Kriyas Yam, no one's going to say that the water of Kriyas Yam at that moment contained the ability to stand firmly. The water even then didn't contain the ability to stand firmly. They stood, it's a pelle. The Eibusher says a place, but Vasser Alein flist. So Al said, yeah, the Yesh exists, but the fact that the Nivra exists is a pelle. He doesn't have the ability to exist. So Meilad Alter Rebbe says, you understand that every Nivra is Nechshav Kaim V'Efes Mamish. It's not a Metzias B'chlal. That's the Alter Rebbe says. So same way, no one's going to say that there's two things that flow: a wall of stone stands and water stands. It's nishdemis. Water never stands. That water stood because the Eibusher kept it up, not because water contains within itself the tchuna of kiyum. So the fact that it's that way is misyachish to the kayach, not to the mitzvahs. Oh, so the Alter Rebbe says later in Sheikh V'Emunah, we have the Tanya just kedai to see the, or unless you went through it. I can't have sheitzes and chita seichet. Not holding the. Just to see Perek Vav, just to have the. We learned this in Yeshivas Sheikh V'Emunah, no? In the American Yeshivas. Which they learned it? Yeah, later I learned the first week. They learned the whole thing. I don't know. They learned the whole thing there. Shigimel, you learned the whole thing. The ganze Sach, or the first couple of paragraphs.
Actually, no exam.
Nazma Sitte, they don't learn Sheikh V'Emunah. You don't have a Tanya right here, but the Sidurim then. No, I'm sure they have a bunch of Tanyas here.
They have one. Yeah.
It's also a shul here, besides for even if it would be a kale, but I'm saying the shuls will have Tanyas. So the Alter Rebbe said, but the Alter Rebbe said, what's the pshat? What's the lashon in pasuk? It says the Alter Rebbe is coming to explain. It says Ve'idati v'shez l'cholak Hashem l'kim Hashem l'kim ein eid. In eid, it's eid means the kiyud of eid likra. Alter Rebbe says eid means a davar tafel. So Alter Rebbe says that the chiddush of the pasuk is that the world is not even a davar tafel. So what Gevena Asfar is davar tafel. Says the guf is tafel to the neshama. Can't say the guf is doesn't exist at all. The guf is not a sahara from the neshama, but the guf is a tafel. The guf is a lavush to the neshama. The whole life and the whole activity, everything comes from the whole mashmos comes from the neshama. So the guf is a tafel. Mashayik and Shemayim Ba'aretz is not even a tafel. So the so this does state that. So the Masadik says that the world is not even a davar tafel, and not like the guf, which is a tafel. I mean, the guf is you can't say the guf is garnished, but it's a tafel to the neshama. Mashayik the Mitzias Ha'elamis is not even a davar tafel. So Masadik says that's only the gabi b'chinas haseviv dafke. Means the fact that Alter Rebbe says at the end that ein eid, that's not mitzvah the beer of the Perek Beis and Perek Gimel, that this havos is toli and varavayet das wird nicht matzte gewen to say ein eid. The shayla is l'chor is pashat nicht as it. L'chor a guf is a neshama, the guf is tougher to the nefesh. Mashaykin is havos the whole metzias stammt from the market. Under Makar garnish. So why does someone say that the fact that the Rebbe says that the world is not even a tough as dafkim mitzat seviv, dafkim mitzat the fact that the varavai is miyuchet in muhusi vatzmusi, that the Rebbe says there that the varavai is miyuchet in muhusi vatzmusi. L'chorim said the etzem vart that the nivra is tali b'chol regen. The varavai, you understand that it's not a mitzvah at all, not even a mitzvah of tafel. So that's when someone says there, and that's why he says that umas elam shkoi diyasim rak b'chinas amali means the etzem inyan that this house is tali b'chol regen b'regen varavai that goy kenech verstehen. But a guy can verstehen that the world is not even a tafel. But the machshim is going to show the guf ein sham. So the Rebbe said the chura the gam l'shitosam behechra sheyeder shekish baruch hu beiris an Ephraim. And if he's beiris, so the chiddush totally in the mechadish. So what's the why? So it says vabiur, even though the Rebbe said even though the nivra mitzad atzmei is ayin ve'efes, but But the way you understand the Pashtus is the Nivra Taka Mitzad Atzmi doesn't exist. Like you say in the Mashal of Zika 7. The Evan Mitzad Atzmi can't fly. But Mitzad the Koyach, why Taka could a person throw the stone? Because Koyach has Zika in Yoni is Lizrak Evan. So Mitzad the Koyach, the Evan flying is a Davar Choshev, has a Chshivas. There's a Tfismakim, not that, so there's a certain Mitzias to the Mitzias Enivra. Not from its own point of view. But from the point of view of the market, there's a certain Nesinas Makim to this Mitzias. Because that expresses the market. So that's a Chshivas. So, Kimash Erev Amali, Nesinas Makim. So, in of Erev Amali Gufa is, what's the Inyan of Erev Amali? An Erev which Inyani is Lahavis. Malchus, means that's Inyani is Lahavis. So his Inyan is expressed by being Mahavis. The Mele, and why did he create such a world after? So, Harila Acher, Shinivru, Elmas, Bitl, Elmas, Leir Zeh, Af Shekom Metziusam Imhu Mimenu. Leir Chayusam. Who Dugmas Bitl Agufla Nefesh. Means, what Samasadik means is, what's the pshat that the Umas Elam understand that the yachas of the nivra to Lukus is bedugmas to the yachas of a nefesh to the guf? So some said we're not that they think that the world is only mikabel chayusa, not mikabel mitziyusa. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with something else. We're dealing with what the guf does get from the nefesh. What does the good get from the nefesh? It doesn't get its habas. It gets chayis. But in the aspect that the guf does receive from the nefesh, it's misyachas also to the guf. The guf is makabel chayis from the nefesh. The guf itself has no chayis at all. The guf is makabel chayis from the nefesh. But why is nefesh machayis dafke the guf? This guf and not another guf. Why is nefesh adam machayis guf adam? Because through this vehicle, his in is going to be expressed. So there's a tfismakim to the guf. Not that the guf has misad atzmi potential to live, but the fact that the nefesh is dafke machayis guf adam is because guf adam is a good levush to bring out his inyan. So meret legabe dem inyan which the makir gives the makabel. There's a chshivas at tfismakim to the makabel. So al derech zeh von sie verstanden. Avada the what is the dvar avai give the nivra? The guf hametzias. That's not even a question. Mashayik nefesh guf doesn't give a guf hametzias. But the yachas of tafel, that the fact that the makar is giving the nivra metzias is because it's worth giving the nivra this metzias, because that's going to bring God. It's going to express the inyan of malchus. So mitzadab bir kum teis that the velt hot epis at why is he mahav this velt? He's mahav a velt with shiver kiyim because that expresses epis a gewisser inyan. And why is he mahav dafke shemayim mit eretz with all the protei advarim medaldi say this? Because that expresses certain tchunis in the mahav. So this havos, and that's true that there's certain tchunis and malchus which are expressed in this havos. But sazeh what me verstanden that so the gabi malchus both has this makom. So them like the Rebbe Tzuda malchus meis makom liyesh because that's the kavana sa'etzim. Varayid, that's we have the akara from the Rebbe says in the opinion. You have the akara opinion is that in order for malchus, so durch for zayin inyan is dafke mitzad ke'echet. And the fact that malchus neis makom liyesh is not because mitzad atzmei malchus is a lower inyan alakus which is neis makom liyesh, because that's the kavana sa'etzim that there should be this aspect in alakus which is given us in this makom liyesh and should be a makar liyesh. But that's all because that's the kavana sa'etzim. And since atzim is not mugder, so he could be in a form of being a makar too. But not because the inyan has a chshivas, because that's the kavana. The mele, so I'll feed that beer. There's no tfisas makom to the mitzvah sayesh.
It's both. It's not a steer. The side was not set. The side was there. So here, both.
I was being masbel as a tzedek. Why is it a steer?
Good.
The Rebbe Tzedek redet nicht is them inyan that malchus. He's just saying the etzim inyan that dafke mitzat seviv. There's no tfisas makom. The Rebbe Lake Tzuda, and that's the premise of malchus. Okay, some tzedek is not going into that. Something is not discussing the word that the Rebbe says here that malchus, the fact that malchus is neis makom liyesh, is because that's the kavanah, and not because there's be'etzim neis makom. He's not discussing that. Some tzaddik is saying that the tnu of heder tfisas makom is dafke mitzat seviv. That's the premise of memali. That's not that he's not discussing. Here's the Rebbe saying, and that seviv memali can't function without that seviv. So that's the premise of memali. That's what the Rebbe is adding here. But the etzim inyan, and there says vadayin tzarechim. This vadayin tzarechim. I mean, the Rebbe would say that vadayin tzarechim not on the etzim inyan. The etzim inyan the Rebbe says in the pnim, the etzim beer, and that's vadayin tzarechim, because in the lashon of Tzaddik is mashma more that he's medamet to that the umas elm will be medamet to nefesh v'guf, as if the yachas is al derech nefesh v'guf. Not in the inyan that the Rebbe is explaining here. In the lashon v'shtei dart in derech v'sesacha to be miyashiv the lashon. I think that's the.
It's more talking about nefesh v'guf.
Yeah, it's not the way the Rebbe is saying here is we're not. Yeah. And we can see our 111 again. So let's just see the whole pnim. So. Kibim es havasel says this is on so that's when Kim Shalom says some makom legabel is khashas loy hoya az is khashas bchol ikem tzius. Kim al derech v'dugmas ma shanasham chayes aguf. Shigam bli achayes shema nasham yesh lemitzius. The Rebbe is dealing all within the aspect of chayes. Means within the why is the nefesh mechay the guf? Because the guf is the inyan. So al derech zeh why is the Eibishter mahavet dafke this rule? Because being mahav an elam has a chshivas. Kivan sheis havas imatzmas in sof baruch hu she'en elam sif makom legabi klal. It's not trying to say there's a mitzias legabi atzmas in sof. Hare ein shum nesinas makom lechol inyanim. It means there's no concept a mile of being mahava. There's no such a mile. There's no mile of being mahava yesh ma'ayin either. Shta as a mile. Shta as a inyan. What's the Eibush is mahava? Kachol libertzeni. Not because there's such an inyan. The Eibush is kol yachol. It cannot. He's built in mugdar klal. Not that there's such an inyan. V'chol iker mitziyusim is chadesh is ma'ir in sof baruch. Numbers in order 111. V'af shak. We saw this order. This.
Yes.
Okay, but that's not much in. The Sepes Asius, we'll just see it again. Just V'af sha'kodesh achidish bam azin sirin sof is already muchach from the etzem fact that the elements are mechudoshim ma'ayin liyesh yesh ma'ayin. B'chol zel achri sha'kodesh b'chidish yesh ma'ayin. Meviyes ha'kodesh that this chidish bam azin sirin sof ha'kodesh zu lerech shemechazekes ha'kodesh b'chidish yesh ma'ayin el shemesifa b'gam oimek. Ki ha'kodesh b'chidish yesh ma'ayin shemitzad.
What's he saying that? What?
I'm saying well, achri you understand that chidish yesh ma'ayin is dafke mitzad ha'atzmos. So now it's made of another emek in Chidish Yesh Ma'ayin. Das wird nicht gehabt mit Zeit, was Alter sagt in Tanya. Was Alter says in Tanya, Chidish Yesh Ma'ayin is Mitzad Malchus.
So you have to understand that Tatvus, then you understand that.
The Rebbe is saying a Chidish over here. The Chidish Yesh Ma'ayin is Dafke Mitzad Atzmus.
That's what Tatvus is.
No. The Rebbe sagt Mitzad Mitzvah Atzmus. Not the etzem in of Chidish Yesh Ma'ayin. Kor b'chidish yesh ma'ayin shemitzad atzma hi shein shum nisnas makom liyesh mitzad atzma. Aval ein ze mechir chadayin she'elin nisnas makom gam mitzad b'chinas ha'era ma'hava is. The kodesh achidish bo me'atzma seir ensif shamal me'elim is ubal the kodesh shegam mitzad b'chinas ha'era ma'hava is. This is what the Rebbe is saying here. What is the Rebbe saying? The kodesh achidish bo me'atzma seir shamal me'elim is. What type of a kodesh does it come to? Shegam mitzad b'chinas ha'era ma'hava is. It means even mitzad ha'era ma'hava ein l'shum tzisas makom. The way the Rebbe says in Tanya mitzad ha'era ma'hava there's tzisas makom. There's another aspect in the yesh which comes from atzvos, nachazach. Here the Rebbe is saying that even mitzad era mahava is ancient tfisas makim. Lechin gam la'achrish all libertzein la'hava is means even la'achrish all libertzein that there should be a tnu of his havos. That's all. That's his ratzon. It means this in guf is b'chorega b'rega. The same way you're going to say the same way the fact that the nivra exists never relates to the nivra. You can't say that now the world became an existent being. The world has no metzias at all because the Eibush is ma'abed. Al derech the fact that there's an inyan elukus, which is nesin makam liyesh. Is it because there's now a dargan elukus which is nesin makam liyesh, or that's all because that's his ratzon? That guf is b'derech yishmayim. That's the ratzon. That's the kavanah sa'etzim. Not that there's now a darga of malchus, that which mitzad atzma is nesin makam liyesh.
And that comes from the hakara that is mitzvah. You see that from mitzvah.
How do you see that Chidish Yishmayin is mitzad atzmos?
He said before, Simcha was saying that's mitzvah.
It's nachavart. The fact that it's havas nizkeich atzmos not mitzad the etzem in of Chidish Yishmayin. Mitzad the vart. So mitzad that beer, what malchus contributes to the yesh could be an eif in the malchus nesim makom the yesh. Then there's another aspect in the yesh, which is the fact that esh senses that the yesh doesn't sense its market. Another aspect, but that doesn't change that the fact that malchus nesim makom the yesh is exerced akosov. Here the Rebbe is saying the fact that Malchus nesim makom liyesh be'etzem it's what's Malchus? Atzma seir itself. Primius of Malchus. Atzma seir itself is not nesim makom liyesh. Alepel Malchus is nesim makom liyesh because that's the kavanah sa'etzem that it should be in such a tziyur.
Malchus yesh ma'ayin.
This havana of yesh ma'ayin that it's not that mitzad l'mpel Malchus is nesim makom liyesh, not because we had it simsum on the air and now it makes sense for it to be a darga that's nesim makom liyesh. It's because that malchus is an expression to the fact that the kavanah sa'etzem is to be a nesim makom liyesh. The Eibishter wants that not only there should be creation of a world, and the world should have a chshivas. That's what he wants. And how is it expressed to the fact that the world has a chshivas? That there's a dargan in a lukus, which is machshiv being mahava mitzias. But that dargan in a lukus is an expression of that aspect in atzmos, which wants to be Nisim Makom Liyesh. Understand what I'm saying?
How does
Yeah, just to bring up this.
He's saying Hakara by this Hakara comes through that.
Right.
That Hakara. He's saying one comes through the other. How do you get from?
First, you have a Hakara that the world is a Sabbath Yeshua, that Sabbath Yeshua is Bekeich Ha'atzmus. Once you understand this Bekeich Ha'atzmus, verstehst du Malchus anders. And the Mele is not Nisim Makom Liyesh. See, the Rebbe said, I mentioned a couple of times, but the Rebbe said this, I think, nicht was ich always chazir, I remember exactly the Prati Advarim, but the point is that in Shulchan Aruch state that Shabbos you have to be nen inig Shabbos. You have to be nen Basar Shamin. So every Yid, a Yid which mitzad etzem tivoi, he wants to be misaneg alavai. The Polish, you have one Yid, the state in Shulchan Aruch, he has to be nen from Basar Shamin. He's not, he wants to be dovek telakus. So you have a Yid which his teva is, he's mechveis ibir gemacht nevesh bahamas, and mele, you have Yid his home mitzias is but bittul teratz nelli. So if the Eibusher wants you to have enough from Basar Shamin, he's going to have enough from Basar Shamin. Well, Pele is going to have enough from Basar Shamin. But not because there's a grubber mensch and he enjoys flesh, because his home mitzias is rationality. That's a different Indian. So that, you can have someone having enough from Basar Shamin because he likes Basar Shamin. He has he's a leaf gas, but not to leave Basar Shamin. Or he's enough from Basar Shamin because that's the kavanah, because his home mitzias is to be like the kavanah se'etzim. And the kavanah se'etzim is to enjoy fat meat. Let's say he's going to enjoy fat meat. He's going to enjoy it, Taka. Not it's going to be a game. He's going to enjoy it because his mitzias is the way the Eibusher wants. But the minute the Eibusher wants, he's only going to enjoy it according to the Ratzin. Nicht the Ratzin, but he's not going to enjoy it, he's not going to have any interest in it. Some of that is beteva hot lieb dort in flesh. So beteva hot lieb, it's not going to be behesem to the Ratzin. So you have Malchus is Nesim Makom Liyesh. The question is, what's the pshat of Malchus Nesim Makom Liyesh? Because Malchus and Yoni is the Indian of Dibur, which is Nesim Makom Liyesh, or because that's the kavanah se'etzim, that Elokus should be in a form of Nesim Makom Liyesh. The Rebbe is saying, that's the kavanah se'etzim. L'poel mamish, Malchus is being machshiv the rakia. But because Atzmus Shlas Kol HaTeirim, and he wants that there should be a gather of Mitzvah Rakia. Because he wants, not because the thing has a chshivus. So without this, L'poel mamish, steht in Chassidus that Malchus is Nesim Makom Liyesh. That, in other words, the reason why Mitzvah Tzfiras HaMalchus is a Shabbos is because it's important for him to be a Shabbos. It's important for him to be a Shabbos. But the shaila is, so the Chitzeni should say, Mitzvah this darga, Mitzvah the darga of Malchus means it's a lower darga in the Lukus is bitzumtzim and all the, whatever, the lower darga. Mitzvah that darga, there's a Tzfisas Makom Tais Shabbos. So then you say, Mitzvah Tzimtzumim, this person likes meat. Mitzvah Tzimtzumim, there's a darga of Malchus which is Nesim Makom Liyesh. Or not Mitzvah Tzimtzumim, because his Indian is Mili Ratzonalien. There's no flesh and no this and no that. There's no teva at all. There's what the Eibusher wants. If the Eibusher wants that he should be in the state, so he's going to have a leiv gashmi, because that's the ratzon, not because his Indian is a feta heart. The play is going to contain this leiv gas. I'm saying. So what gives us the akara that the fact that Malchus is Natzir and Sinas Makom Liyesh is not because it's mahus. It's mahus is ratzna elyon, and it's carrying out that tafkid of ratzna elyon of the kavanah se'etzim lahachshiv v'sayesh. That's expressed in the fact that he's mahava azam esert yesh, which dafka b'keich atzmos lahavas. Means Malchus's inyan is an inyan which dafka atzmos could do. So be'etzim what Malchus is Nesinas Makom Liyesh is his havas, the way it is inside the etzim. You say in the mashal that Chavis Lamer, this is be a wrong dogma. I'm just trying to say, just use it as an example. And Shulchan Aruch steht Chavis nef Basar Shamin there. Let's say Mitzvah Teva. This is a bad dogma. I'm just saying the Indian. But let's say Mitzvah Teva Advarim, Mitzvah Teva Adam. There's better dogmas. I'm just. But let's say Mitzvah Teva Advarim. So it's better dogmas. But what I'm saying, let's say Mitzvah Teva Advarim. A person can't eat so much meat, let's say. Even I feel like grace about Taiva what nicht gegangen. But mit Shulchan Aruch etwas so a Yid that his mitzias is weil hat because api teva hat no, so then we'll have that akbala. But if the whole ano is because that's the kavanah se'etzim, so we'll have hano the way the etzim is mechayev tavano. That's I don't know that's in the ano will be nirgash that it's not ano which stems from teva. It's ano because that's the kavanah se'etzim. It's a different type of inyan. Yeah, but it's both. It says in this also brings from the Tzemach Tzedek that Tzaddik was, I remember that Tzaddik says there that Tzaddik Gomer in his brain is Rich Malakus, but he says there that steht in Medrash that you have to say, person shouldn't say that I don't want to eat nevela, chaylev, efshi. That was talking efshi. So some Tzaddik says that at Tzaddik Gomer steht in Chazal, the kavanah, the mitzvah is not that you shouldn't eat chaylev because you don't want it. Nish gamvenen, you're not supposed to steal because it should be most by you to steal. But not to eat chaylev or nevela or basar b'cholov, it's because that's what the Eibishter wants. But etzim I would want it, they have a taiva for it, but that's the Eibishter wants. But mele hoter a taiva to essen basar b'cholov. Because the kavanah satayr is that this mitzvah should be done mitzad ratzon eli, not mitzad your mitzvahs. So mele hoter a taiva. But he has a taiva, not because someone has a taiva for chaylev because he's glad to mitzvahs. Or because the kavanah satayr is that this mitzvah should be done and demonstrate your bittul to Kabbalah sale. So, and his mitzvahs is leit vidar Eibishter is mechayiv. So the poil hoter a taiva to the shtikul chaylev. Talking about Tzaddik Gomer. He only has taiva to chaylev. To anything else which the kavanah satayr is not taiva to, he has no taiva to at all. Whatever, in order for the master, some Tzaddik says, but mitzad, even though the fact that he's misavel chaylev is mitzad, but mitzad that lupel mitzad that in your guf is betachas arichim from malakus. Because it's a leisase lechol chaylev. So the pile is a whole back and forth over there. It ever brings it a couple of times.
So why is it only by chaylev?
No, I'm just saying it doesn't touch it up there. He's just I'm saying there's a tzir of someone that the fact that it's efshi is because his mohus tzidvi, he doesn't have his own factor how his mitzias is his Indian the way it is v'apitated, that's the way he is. Apitated davs zayin that there should be efshi for chaylev. V'meila he has a type for chaylev. So we're talking about a tzaddik ayid, but the Tzaddik says there that lepoil in that aspect that he's misavel chaylev is with tachlis harichik from malakus. This is Cheshbein Esrat Tzaddik Gomer. The Alter Rebbe wrote a sefer shel tzaddikim state. The Zache is bonusen for. Okay, it would be a nice ketta to see, but we don't have. Good. We're just bringing all this for him. Anyways, you'll be mine. The Rebbe brings it a couple of times. This. Where did the Rebbe bring it? The Rebbe brings the session of Sama Tzaddik. The mitzvah that's b'tachlas harichik from alakus. Anyways, good. Oh, so what does the Rebbe say weiter? So the beard in Pshat gives a emek in the beard in Emes. The beard in Seit gives a emek in the beard up in Emes. But mele bo la kodas ha'achdos ve'efmen she'enet milvad. Achdos that there's no mitzvahs outside of alakus. Mit dem akara that even mitzvah tzfiras hamalchus. But now the premise of that is that's the kavanah says and mele comes to the whole deeper akar in achtus and the achtus of alakus that there's only one. There's no other mitzvahs outside of the Eibishter. Shekola elamis in ayin ve'efes mamish agabe Kodesh Baruch Hu ve'ein nekreis b'shem klal afilu b'shem eid shul lashon tov. That lashon. Kim mitzvahs nicht. Kim sheken ein nigesh asli b'pshitas shechayis psari and ishu mitzvahs klal. Gam le mitzvahs b'derech tofel. Mitzvahs what is faran, what exists, what is existence. Is a skashus balakus. Anything which is not that, anything which is not that, mitzad naran chaye, which are dargis and mitzias. So, however much they're going to come to the extent of bittul ha'elamis, we're being mavatal ha'elamis. According to this beer, lechatchila there's nothing. There's the kavanah sa'etzim. We're lechatchila not dealing with the mitzias to be mavatal. There's the kavanah sa'etzim, and everything stems from there. It's not what the Rebbe is saying here. As you learn, there's atzmos. Mitzad machos, there's a tzis makam liyesh. Mitzad seva kolamen, there's bittul elamis. Different tnuas and alakus. I'm saying, but once you understand that even that the tnuah of machos, really it's an expression of the kavanah sa'etzem to give us in the smakam tevel. So there's a kavanah sa'etzem to give us in the smakam tevel. And the kavanah, and what's the kavanah sa'etzem to be shelovel. It's not, there's no Indian outside of that. So there's nothing, it's not a question, you don't have to be mevatel ha-mitzias. L'chatchila, there's only his ratzim. So that's you come to the emes hakar of Eid that there is nothing else besides for him. There isn't even anything which has to be cancelled, which has to be in his battle. Lechatchila, everything is him. And the different aspects and modes that we see are all the kavanah sa'etzem that there should be this tnuah and yachas to the mitzias and that tnuah yachas to the mitzias. So as a statement, there is an Indian of blikvol. Inside blikvol, the world is very bottled. There's an Indian of malchus, which is mahaved the welt. And mitzad that darge, the world is kach v'kach. And so you said all those dargim, said bli gvul and gvul. There's a mitzias. There's the mitzias is batal telikus. Mitzad atzmas, there's only him. There's no concept outside of him. There's no concept. There's him. And what is everything? His kavanah, his ratzon. There's nothing. It gives a deeper tfisa. It's not only that everything is batal telikus. The only mitzias is the kavanah al yain.
Even mitzad malchus is no.
Yeah. So what is malchus? Lepel malchus is nesim makam liyesh. Because that's the kavanah setzim. The Eibush is le'enim mugdar klal. And if Oliver saying it to yegivin a nesim makam tevel. Al Onibert saying that should be a tnu of not to get of to be shayvel the mitzias of. That's all the kavanah setzim. It's not that there's a madrega which mitzad inin of blig vol velt is bottle. There's no inin of blig vol. There's the kavanah setzim there should be inin of blig vol. There's no inin of blig vol as an inin for itself. There's no concept outside of the kavanah setzim. That's what the Rebbe is saying. So nothing ever happened outside of him. Even if you understand or you understand so there's bittul ilmus. Not that there's no concept outside of the etzim. There's concepts. Instead, bli gvul, there's a concept of gvul. Gvul is batal. You can't say there's nothing. Only him. Instead, atzmas, there's nothing. There's no concept. There's no anything. There's nothing. The Rebbe is saying here, and nothing ever happened outside of that. Because what's malchus and what's seir kolam, that's all the kavanah se'etzim. Is al zayin azasert inin se'atzveta sertin. So to begin with, nothing happened outside of him. The kavanah is that it should be begilu. Say that the kavanah is that it should be begilu. The truth is that the pnimi said varim, everything is here by kavanah se'etzim. But there's a shtein beis galus.
So something that it's not begilu.
Chaim Sarim, someone that's living a perish 11 and eating flesh and enjoying himself. So I'm saying he's not pnimius behelim. He's also I'm saying there's when he realizes there's whole mitzvah is the kavanah se'etzim and whole face whatever he's gonna be misharis to the kavanah se'etzim. Good, so that's another thing. מהקורא זו שאין עד מלבדי, הרי פושט אצלי, שבקים ציווה הקדוש ברוך הוא, יאפשר לערי ואפילו לא כתופל שום תו ותחת זכר. זה דבר פושט בהם, ומקום צגן צטון dem Eibish's Ratzen, there's no Metzias of Welt outside of Elokus. When you're doing the Eibish's Ratzen, the Metzias is his Ratzen, there's no other Metzias. You don't have any other Indian outside of the Kavanah Se'etzim. Chol kim tzachlis mitzad Ratzen abirik, knal b'bir achziz v'chel gedrush medani. Das ist nicht gefasst in Yonim, was steht da. See, in a way, this nekuda that the nekuda of Achdus is not that everything is batal telikus. To begin with, there's only kavanah se'etzim. You say avaya echad because either there's elumis. The elumis are batal telikus, or all these type of views, or because lechatchila whatever exists is the kavanah se'etzim. I'm saying it's a different.
So he's saying that's why he's talking about Savior.
Where? Which are? Good. I'm saying what the Rebbe says here is not. There is a different word. He just in the Ari just bring the etzim Indian that we see that mitzad malchus mitzad asmet there's a tfis makom liyesh. Even if you say yesh ma'ayin, it's not shayla that mitzad makar there's a tfis makom liyesh. That's the Rebbe's bringing in the Ari. But the Peh, what the Rebbe takes them what do we see from the fact that malchus mechadish the keichatz was that there's no tfis makom liyesh, and that's. Yeah, das ist im Jahr der Mamukim. So, wir sind Sif Zayin, Sif Yud Zayin. What side of them? Yeah, about a per minute, yeah. We were a little bit yesterday, so. How many more shiurim do we have before there's some camp, no? Everybody stays here all summer, they all staying here? Some of them are staying here? Good, so Lamer Zayin, Sif Yud Zayin. Unless you want to take a break, I don't know. Lass mal weiter. Beginnen sei Chido. Liyes ha'atzmis eine sheleles is nefesh ruach neshama chaya. Kedushat Sifitzayin Yitches is one Indian, and then Yites Yitzchanayim. So maybe Sifitzayin Yitches. I don't want to stop and rush through, but the Inyanim, the Etzim Inyanim here, we've seen these before. The Etzim Rayenis that are here.